In this lecture, you are going to learn how to choose your hosting provider. Now, let's see some of the recommended things to look for in hosting providers. The first one is 99.99% uptime. Most hosting providers provide you only 99.9% uptime. Do you think that the 0.09% time matters? Yes, it matters a lot. 99.9% uptime means 43.2 minutes downtime per month. That means in a month, your website may remain inaccessible for around 43 minutes a month. That's equal to around 8.5 hours a year. Can you afford to lose access to your website for both yourself and also your customers for around 8.5 hours a year? That's a lot of time for any e-commerce website. So you should always target for 99.99% uptime packages. But if you see 100% uptime by any of those hosting providers, then you should be aware, because when you read the terms and conditions closely, the 100% uptime doesn't really mean the real time or the actual 100% uptime. They make you a fraction of refund for the uptimes that are less than 99.9%. For example, if your website is not accessible for around 1 hour a particular month, then they will refund you the cost of around 16 minutes or 17 minutes. That's going to be a few cents. What is the use of getting refund of a few cents for a few minutes of downtime? That's not reliable. There's no use in getting such 100% uptime. What you need is a reliable server which gives you the maximum uptime as possible. The next thing is the real unlimited. When you see unlimited hosting, you should not fall into that, because there is no true unlimited everything. Even though if the hosting provider offers unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited this and unlimited that, most hosting providers or almost all hosting providers have a limit called inode limit. For each file that you upload or for each file that gets created in your hosting, one or multiple inodes get created. So if your hosting or if your website exceeds around 100,000 or 200,000 inode limit, then the hosting provider will ask you to upgrade your package or may ban your website altogether, saying that you have exceeded the inode limit. So you should ask your hosting provider or the sales team what is the inode limit for any package that you are going to buy before committing into any hosting packages. Also, whenever the hosting providers claims this package can handle up to 1000 visitors a month or 10,000 visitors a month, there you should get alerted, because no one can predict that much accurately. You may be using caching plugins, or your website's nature can be different, so no one can define how much visitors that particular website can handle. Though the hosting provider may claim to handle 5,000 or 10,000 monthly visitors, by the time you reach such amount of visitors per day or per month, your website could have gone terribly slow. So don't fall for such figures. Next comes specifications. Whenever the hosting providers showcase their specification, you should know whether they are projecting their entire server specification or the specification that will be allotted exclusively for you. For example, when they showcase like 16 cores and 32 GB of RAM or something so much high for shared hosting, it means those are the specifications of the entire server. Whenever they showcase like 0.5 core or 1 or 2 core or 512 MB of RAM or 1 GB of RAM, That means those are the amount of CPU cores and the RAM that you will get exclusively when you opt for those SAD hosting. The ultimate thing that's very, very important is this unlimited bandwidth. Actually, the amount or the size of the bandwidth doesn't matter at all. What matters is the speed of the bandwidth. For example, the hosting provider may offer up to 100 GB or unlimited bandwidth, but the speed of that bandwidth could be around 1 Mbps or 3 Mbps, or sometimes they can climb up to 3000 or 5000 Mbps. When they climb so high, like 1000 or beyond, that means that entire server or their entire clusters of server is having that much amount of bandwidth. That big amount will be shared to multiple servers, so each server will get a fraction of the 1000 Mbps, and for each website in that particular server will get a fraction of fraction, so you will be getting around 1 or 5 or 3 Mbps. So you need to ask the sales guys or the sales team before buying any hosting. But some hosting providers explicitly mention the amount of bandwidth speed that you'll be getting for your websites exclusively. Finally, the add-on cost for trivial features. Some hosting providers like Bluehost, they charge you around $149 or $150 to migrate you from another hosting provider to theirs. From my point of view, this should be free. Next comes the specialized WordPress or WooCommerce hosting. Again, this is like that 100% uptime, because there is no such thing as specialized WordPress or WooCommerce hosting. Whenever you buy a shared hosting, you can install any scripts, that is WordPress or WooCommerce or Joomla, whatever it is, you will be able to install it on any shared hosting. And those shared hostings should support all the features that are needed for W3 Total Cache or WooCommerce plugin or any plugin that you will be using in the future. WooCommerce needs a feature called SOAP, which if not available, then WooCommerce won't work flawlessly. If a hosting provider is asking you additional charge or offering you a separate package in the name of WooCommerce hosting, it's better to avoid, because if you need any feature in the future, then that hosting provider is going to charge for that too. So it's better to avoid such hosting providers in the beginning stage itself. And then comes this free SSL. There is a website called Let's Encrypt which offers you free SSL regardless of whatever domain you use or whatever hosting package you use. If you want a secured SSL more than that, then you can buy an SSL for $5 or $10 a year from namecheap.com. So you don't need to look for hosting packages that come with free SSL. These are some of the things that I wish to make you aware of before committing into any hosting packages.